So today we're going to do some value practice, and value is a really important part of drawing. It is what gives you the illusion of form, and it gives you a lot more depth, and value is really what gives you the drama in any given painting or drawing, because without value everything would look really flat. So what you need is you need a pencil, and you could use a regular standard pencil. You can use mechanical pencil, or if you have some drawing pencils, you can use those. But I'm going to use just your standard number 2 pencil. It's called number 2. This is an HB number 2. Most of your standard yellow pencils like this are going to be an HB number 2. And it's a pretty middle of the road pencil. It means it's not very hard, but it's also not very soft. So you're able to create a lot of value with just this one pencil. You're also going to need a piece of paper, an eraser, pencil sharpener, a pen, and if you like straight lines, you're going to want a ruler. So the first thing we're going to do is set up a value scale. And a value scale is just a tool you can create for yourself so that you can see the full range of values that are available to you. Realistically, that full range is infinite, but you, as an artist, want to simplify that a little bit. You don't ever want to capture every little detail unless you're going for hyper-realism, which isn't really what we're teaching today. So if you like things perfect, go ahead and get your straight edge out, and you're going to make yourself a big rectangle. Go over that line again. And if you aren't as picky, feel free to freehand it as well. Whatever floats your boat. And you're going to want to divide that box as even as you can. One, two, three, four, 5, and we're going to be doing 5. So the first thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to start on your furthest to the right box, and you're going to be filling that in as dark as you can get it. So there's a couple ways to hold your pencil, and we'll start there. Is you can hold it straight up and down, you'll get a really thin dark line, or you can hold it at a side and you can get a little bit of a thicker line. But even here you can kind of see the value gradation. We are going for this darkest color, so if you get it kind of thin, you're going to want to go over it again, and you're going to just keep going over it and fill that entire box in as dark as you can get it. Okay, so I'm not too worried about making this a perfect box. Don't worry about getting it into the edges and everything like that. You'll get the same idea whether this is perfectly filled in or not. But really, what I want you to see is how dark you can make this pencil. And if you used a black pen to make your box, that's kind of a good way to judge it as well. Can you get it as dark as that box? Usually not with a number 2 pencil, but that's what you're trying to do, is get it as dark as possible. So to make our scale, now that we have our first box done, we're going to work our way down, this being our lightest box, and this being our second darkest. So you're going to start a little lighter than you did the first time. Give it a little pencil wash here. Okay, and then just keep layering it. And you'll keep going over it until you build it up darker and darker and darker without getting as dark as your first box. And we're going to be continuing this same process as we go down the line, and it'll just get lighter and lighter, so you'll do less and less layers each box till you get to that final box on the left. And you can see I'm continuing to use the edge of my pencil rather than the tip of my pencil, because it's going to make a more even value and it's going to be more consistent. Okay, and I can see a difference between this box and this box, so I'm going to go ahead and move to my middle box. And we'll do the same process, as I'm going to just start with a light value. Just going over very softly, not pressing very hard. And then I might add another layer over that. And you can see as I do this, I'm going over in different directions. So the first time I kind of went left to right, then I went up and down, now I'm going at an angle. This is just helping keep it really consistent and smooth, which you don't always want, but it's a good skill to have, and it's a good thing to know how to do, because sometimes having that really smooth value is going to be really helpful, particularly when you're working on something like shadows, which have a smooth gradient. So now I have my darkest, my middle, and then my next lightest. So next one, even lighter. So once again, starting with a nice thin layer, going really smooth, and filling that box. And I'm going to probably do at least 2 layers on this, because remember, we still need to have a lightest layer for that box on the left. All right, and then that very last step, our box to the left, we're just gonna go over it one time. Okay, and now I can compare every single box and make sure that there is a value gradation. This one I think I'm gonna add a little bit more because it looks a little bit too close to the one on its left. All right, and if I really wanna make these smooth, I can use a paper towel, I can use some crumpled paper, or I can even use my finger and just kind of smush it around a little bit, and that's going to make it look even smoother and erase some more of those pencil lines that might have occurred. And it's going to give you a really even transition. So you should see it going from very light to very dark, and this was all done with just a number 2 pencil. So the other thing that I want you to think about when you're making these value scales is that real objects, so let's look at my iPod case here, have a gradation from lightest to darkest that is going to be infinite. So here we see our brightest where our highlight is, and it slowly gets darker and darker until we get over to this side. So this is a simplified version of what you see every day on all objects.